A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannayak. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
President Maithripala Sirisena embarks on state visit to Pakistan. Present the Valyamna report on corruption of Sri Lankan Airlines to Parliament, a request from the JVP. Search operation for woman who was reported missing in Kotukethana, Kahavatta continues. Former Minister Pida Aratna faced with protests in Ampara.
President Maithripala Sirisena, who left Sri Lanka this afternoon for a two-day state visit to Pakistan, reached Islamabad earlier this evening. President Sirisena left the island at 1:30 this afternoon in the flight UL-183. The President's media division noted that the head of state was undertaking this visit on the invitation of his Pakistani counterpart Mamnoon Hussain. Sri Lanka has enjoyed a long friendship and close diplomatic ties with the Muslim-majority Pakistan for many years. The PMD says that President Sirisena hopes to further strengthen friendly ties through this visit. The Pakistani media too reported on the impending visit of the Sri Lankan President today. Pakistan, which has faced much political turmoil in the recent past, identified President Maithripala Sirisena as a leader who paved the way for change. The Sri Lankan delegation headed by the President arrived at the Noor Khan military air base in Islamabad at 6:15 this evening in Sri Lankan time.
The official program of the President begins tomorrow. He is due to hold bilateral discussions with his Pakistani counterpart Mamnoon Hussain and Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, while 6 agreements are to be signed.
Islamabad Newsfirst Rinas Mohammed.
The JVP says the Valyamna report on corruption at the national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines must be tabled in Parliament. Meanwhile, in an exclusive interview with Newsfirst today, Kapila Chandrasena, the former CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, noted that he could not be held responsible for decisions made by higher-ups.
The report of the 4-member committee, chaired by senior lawyer J.C. Valyamna, highlighting corruption and irregularities at the national carrier, has been submitted to the Prime Minister. The report implicates former Chairman Nishantha Wickramasinghe and former CEO Kapila Chandrasena for a number of irregularities. The report further notes that the former chairman's penchant for young air hostesses caused further problems for the airline, which was already burdened by debt. The report also highlights irregularities in the procurement of new aircraft, unnecessary expenditure on foreign travel and the procurement of luxury cars. The Valyamna report also claims that employees of Sri Lankan Airlines were released for political work for the Rajapaksa family. The report recommends criminal proceedings against senior officers, including the former chairman and former CEO.
Mr. Chandrasena, also a widely held belief among the public at the moment is that all of this has happened because of corruption and fraud on the part of senior management and senior executives at Sri Lankan Airlines. Do you accept that premise?
I don't subscribe to the fact that loss is due to the corruption as such. But again, I'm not there to comment on those reports. I think there are observations, and when the right time, we'll certainly are happy to give whatever the responses that's needed for those.
Do you believe that there was integrity on the part of officers who were above you at Sri Lankan Airlines?
Well, I think it's a difficult question. What I can tell you is I was the CEO and I was reporting to a chairman and the board, and my primary responsibility was really managing that. But if there's a higher officer who was also getting involved, then I cannot really take 100% responsibility in managing those. That's all I can tell you. Given the circumstances, I manage it to the best of my ability.
We feel that some of the conclusions are based on malicious statements made by individuals who had problems with the aviation service. We have problems regarding the expertise in this report. As a trade union, we propose the appointment of a committee that has technical expertise and which can look beyond preliminary shortcomings, personal relationships, minor transactions and recruitment, and delve into large-scale fraud and irregularities. The way the chairman treated an air hostess is not what is important to the people. There is the case of large-scale fraud which took place when purchasing Airbus aircraft for Air Lanka. There are also shortcomings when looking at the manner in which the service was used for the travels of the Rajapaksa family. Revelations have been made of major corruption and fraud in recent agreements reached by Air Lanka. Inquiries should also be made into transactions at the catering company and other affiliated companies. We say that these steps are good, but in order for them to yield results, it would be pointless if it is only the Prime Minister reading the full report. The report must be tabled in Parliament. A debate must be held and a Parliament Select Committee should be convened. The PSC should grant space for employee organizations, trade unions and all other stakeholders and interested parties to make submissions on fraud and corruption at the organization. The procedure now enables those involved in fraud and corruption to escape from the major crimes when a portion of their fraud and corruption is revealed. Therefore, we believe that there should be broad debate in Parliament on the alleged corruption at Air Lanka and also on the recent treasury bond scam at the Central Bank, and that PSCs should be appointed in order to ensure that those responsible are brought before the law.
කාරක සභාවක් ඇති වෙලා මේ වංචා දූෂණ පිළිබඳව වගකිය යුතු අයව නීතිය හමුවට පමුණවන්න කටයුතු සිද්ධ වෙන්න ඕන කියන තමයි අපේ අදහස.
For the complete exclusive interview with former Sri Lankan Airlines CEO Kapila Chandrasena on the startling revelations made in the Valiamna report, visit our website www.newsfirst.lk. Meanwhile, a group protested against former Senior Minister P. Dayaratne today during a public rally in Ampara. The public rally was held under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and several other members of the UNP.
Former Senior Minister P. Dayaratne was given the stage first to address the gathering. However, he was disturbed by the UNP supporters who were present at the rally, saying he had abandoned the party several times.
I should say that I will not fear those who make little sounds because they are a bit hurt. There are a lot of people who can talk like that without making any sense, like fools.
There were several attempts to disband the protests which failed eventually.
Please calm down. We are trying to rebuild the UNP. It was I who invited him. Therefore, I ask you to calm down and be silent.
Afterwards, P. Dayaratne addressed the gathering amidst disturbances from the protesters. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, addressing the gathering, noted that P. Dayaratne's support is essential for the party.
P. Dayaratne came here today to show his support to us. We went to Parliament together. We should increase the number of votes if we won. We cannot let it go down. To increase it, we should regain the votes of those who support him.
You're with News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
On the night of the 12th of February, an individual who had forcibly parked several containers on state-owned property about 500 meters towards Markola from the Kiribathgoda junction removed the containers himself against a backdrop where the Land Ministry had instructed the Divisional Secretary of Kalaniya to transfer the land to him. Until the 26th of January this year, the State Fisheries Corporation operated a fish market at these premises, which was acquired by the government in 1994 at a cost of 17.4 million rupees, in line with the Kiribathgoda Urban Development Plan. On the 7th of February, Action TV revealed that although a certain individual had parked these containers here on the 26th of January, preventing the operation of this fish market, the police had failed to take action. An executive manager of the Ceylon Fisheries Corporation had filed a complaint on the same day with the Kiribati police. Against a backdrop where the police were not enforcing the law, on the 2nd of February, the chairman of the State Fisheries Corporation informed the manager of the Paliagoda Wholesale Fish Market to remove the fish market on the premises. I state responsibly that it is two politicians who are behind the act of parking those containers there to ensure the closure of that fish market. Although the containers were removed, since the fish market did not become operational again, another individual has now parked construction machinery on the premises. When the police made submissions to court, the court announced that in such cases, it is the responsibility of the divisional secretary to collate facts and make submissions. Although 2 weeks have passed since the court made its determination, the Divisional Secretary of Kalaniya has taken no steps whatsoever to prevent the misuse of this public property. Convening a media briefing yesterday, representatives of the Mahasangha in Kiribati and public representatives noted that plans were afoot to bring this land, valued at 180 million rupees at present, under private ownership. As members of the Pradeshya Sabha, both opposition and government members adopted a resolution in 2011 to acquire this land for the Pradeshya Sabha. We asked for it so we could establish an international standard library for the Gampa district and the Sianai Korale. We repeated the request in 2015, and it was when the response was turning to the positive that the government changed. Shouldn't a stop be put to the Kalaniya Divisional Secretary's inaction in the dispute that has arisen over this land, whose state ownership is undisputed? District Secretary of Gampaha, this is over to you.
Christians around the world celebrate Easter Sunday today. Easter, which is also known as Resurrection Sunday, is a festival and holiday celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead as described in the New Testament.
Were held at churches across the island in view of Easter Sunday today.
The Foreign Employment Bureau says that according to latest reports, the Sri Lankans who are stranded amidst the Yemen crisis will not be removed from their location in Yemen today as planned. Speaking to News First, acting Chinese ambassador Ren Fa-Kiang too confirmed that obtaining permission from Saudi Arabia and Yemen to remove foreign nationals from the country is essential. He added that the Chinese government is looking into alternative means of bringing down Sri Lankans in Yemen. The acting Chinese ambassador noted that he is due to receive more information in this regard tomorrow. We have a comprehensive report on the crisis in Yemen coming later on in the news. Traditional fishermen are at risk of losing vital fishing grounds in Kalpitia. The illegal activities of a handful may soon cause the nation to lose its largest coral reef in Kalpitia, affecting not only traditional fishermen but also the fish population in this biodiverse area. News First, Florin Rajendran reports.
Kalpitia, isolated for decades by conflict, has a history which dates back thousands of years. While it is home to what was a thriving fishing community, it was identified as a key port by the European colonists and is even believed to be the location of the fabled Bronze Beach or Thambapani, where Prince Vijaya first made port in Sri Lanka. This idyllic stretch of beach is located about 150 kilometers from Colombo. The coast of Kalpitia has become a major tourist hotspot post-war, attracting tourists from across the world and from across Sri Lanka who come here to witness the monumental reef. In 1992, the Coast Conservation Department declared the reef and surrounding waters an ocean sanctuary. While 400 species of aquaculture have been identified, Kalpitia also boasts of almost year-round whale and dolphin watching. Kalpitia is also home to many varieties of bird life.
We are at 20 nautical miles here at sea. Now, the most precious coral reefs in Asia are located at this location. A number of tourists arrive in their numbers to witness this wonder. We at News First also received an opportunity.
The coral reef itself, which spans about 306 kilometers, boasts of 122 varieties of coral. Much of the reef has been destroyed today due to illegal fishing methods, including the use of prohibited nets and dynamite. These images bear testament to the destruction that has been wrought to these waters.
When I came here in January, I noticed that Kalpitiya has a quite amazing ocean. A lot of Sri Lanka's fish life is represented here. So one day we did a dive there, and there was about 5 huge marble stingrays, one of them bigger than 2 of these tables, and that was a breeding ground for them, which signifies the importance of this area. It was an amazing day. 2 days later we came back, there was nothing left. Basically, in my view, it's very sad. I'm pretty sure that this method of fishing is illegal, and I've tried to reach out to certain authorities, but out here on the sea there's just no enforcement, there's no help.
A variety of fishing nets known by locals as Laila and Suruku destroy the seabed. The bottom trawling nets snag even the smallest of fish, and the damage caused to the seabed has a massive detrimental effect on the ability of the fish population to replenish itself. The Newsfirst team also encountered a group using illegal fishing methods, but upon seeing us, they drew in their equipment and fled.
ළමෙක් වගේ මාළුකුරුවෙක්. මේ මාළුවා මරපන් ලේ යනවා සෑහෙන. මේ මාළුවාගේ ලේට තමයි මාළු එකතු වෙන්නේ. එතන තමයි ඒගොල්ලන් බෑලා ඩයිනා ගන්න. මූදේ තියෙන මාළු එකපාර අල්ලගෙන ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ධනෙ එක්ස්ප්‍රෙස් කරගැනීම කටයුතුවට තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ පෙළඹලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ දැලයිල්ල අපි මෙහෙම කරන නිසා කැඩෙනවා. හා මේකෙන් අල්ලන්නේ පොඩි මාළු විතරයි. ලොකු මාළුවෙක් මේ දැලේ රැඳෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ දැලට මේ කම්බිය දාලා ඒගොල්ලන් බැස්සුවට පස්සේ මේක ගිහලා වැටුණාට පස්සේ ඉරෙනවා. ඉරුණාට පස්සේ ඉතින් මාන්න බෑ. මේ දැලක් ඇවිල්ලා දැන් අපි අදනවා නම් 20000ක් විතර යනවා මේ දැලක් හදන්න. එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවිධානය සමග
This is a major violation of environmental conventions entered into with the UN. Even with laws against the use of prohibited nets and equipment like the Laila and Suruku, this is going ahead unchecked. This is being done with the blessings of a powerful police officer in Puttalam. What we have been told is that they take away fish, prawns, crabs and squid by the crate load. Instead of doing what is needed by everyone, they are doing what should never be done. Many prohibited activities do take place. Distilling moonshine is illegal, but it happens. While Nara and the ministry are conducting an investigation, those using Laila and Suruku nets have been told to stop. We are hoping to hold discussions with the president and implement a program where they too are given alternate employment.
While authorities attempt to work out mechanisms to please all parties, these fishermen can only look on as their livelihoods disappear before their very eyes. If the lethargy surrounding implementing conservation laws continues unchecked, the rest of the country too will be made to simply look on as one of the greatest treasures of this island is wiped off the face of the earth. Florine Rajendran, News First, Kalpitiya, Sri Lanka.
A mother of 3 disappeared under suspicious circumstances earlier this morning in the Kotaketana area in Kahawatha, Ratnapura. The police have launched a search operation for the missing woman.
The missing 39-year-old Chandrani Swarnalatha is a resident of the Kotaketana area in Kahawatha. Her husband was attending a funeral last night while she had stayed behind at her residence with her 17-year-old second child. Her other 2 children, aged 16 and 20, are currently living outside their home. The husband, giving a statement to the police, had said that when he returned home around 1:30 a.m., she was not to be found anywhere. He added that the front door of the house was wide open. Police investigations found several bloodstains in the living room and the garden areas. However, no information has come to light as yet regarding her whereabouts. The police, with the assistance of the residents of the area and the Special Task Force, are conducting the search operation. The residence of the missing woman is located just across this paddy field. It has been reported that 10 meters away from this residence, 2 individuals were guarding their paddy fields at the time of the disappearance. When we consider the surroundings of a residence just half a kilometer away, on my right, there is a special police post that was erected following the wave of murders that occurred in the Kotaketana village in the recent past. If any individual had crossed this path, One of the first locations in which this could be witnessed is from this police post. There is also a special police task force located just in close proximity to the victim's residence. Therefore, if any individual was to take the woman out of her residence from this area, then there would have been many witnesses. If the suspects were to kidnap the woman, they could have taken her from the behind of the house, as there are 2 lanes. Sniffer dogs who were used to carry out investigations traced the scent on a route that 3-wheelers travelled upon.
මේ මාර්ගයේ ඉව ඔස්සේ ගමන් කළේ මේ මාර්ගයේ කෙළවරටයි.
11 women killed in the Kahawatha area in Ratnapura since April 2011. The first incident is recorded on the 4th of April in 2011 from the Dimbulwala area in Kahawatha. A 68-year-old woman was burnt to death inside her own home. The body of a 69-year-old woman is found on the bank of the Opatha Kottagedera Canal in Kahawatha on the 15th of December 2011. She had been kidnapped and then murdered. Bodies of an 18-year-old female and her mother were found in 2 different locations in the same area on the 2nd of February in 2012. May 30th of the same year saw the death of 2 sisters, aged 58 and 51. Their charred remains were discovered from their home in Warapitiya, Kahawatha. The 2 burnt bodies of a 63-year-old woman and a 33-year-old daughter were found at their residence in Kotaketana on the 19th of June 2012. Another 60-year-old woman was killed inside her home on the 31st of October the same year. A woman was murdered in the Poranwa area in Kahawatha, Ratnapura on the 16th of September 2013. Another homicide of a woman was reported in the area on the 22nd of October 2014.
The government has decided to re-evaluate 35 investment projects initiated by the former regime. Iran Vikramaratne, the Deputy Minister of Highways and Investment Promotion, noted that problems have arisen with regard to the projects in question.
Deputy Minister Iran Vikramaratne says it has become evident that 35 investment projects in question had been initiated without following a tender procedure.
Sri Lanka Guan Samagame Vartavat Samagama.
Along with the release of the report on Sri Lankan Airlines, there has been another decision made by the government to look into 35 state enterprises. There is a suspicion that large-scale corruption may have occurred through contracts of these 35 enterprises. When handing out contracts, there have been many unsolicited proposals. In these cases, the government has gotten involved with individuals or their companies without any competition. So the project is implemented, and so is the fraud through which they take rogue profits.
පුද්ගලයා එක්ක හොය සමාගමයක එකඟ වෙලා ඒක දෙනවා. එතකොට ව්‍යාපෘති අද කරනවා, වංචාව අද ඉෂ්ට කරනවා, හොරු ලාභය අද හොයනවා.
The Deputy Minister also noted that a majority of these projects were initiated on contracts entered into with Chinese companies. He points out that the failure to adequately study these projects could result in long-term consequences.
When
loans are taken from foreign banks, the debt must be repaid. It is repaid via taxation. So several anti-people processes have occurred. So it has been decided to hold extensive inquiries and bring the wrongdoers to court and punish them. Once it is discovered, we as a government are prepared to renegotiate with the contractors and undertake the projects in a manner that is advantageous to the country.
Minister of Housing and Samurdhi Sajid Premadasa says that the government and the opposition must work together to strengthen the economy. The minister made this statement at an event held in Beliata.
An event was held to distribute loans worth ₹100,000 under the Diriya Sevana program for low-income families at the historical Al Denish Sri Sundharama Viharing in Gatamana.
Today, our country is trapped in a dreadful economic debt trap. If we are to free ourselves from this debt trap, we have to work differently. Our cabinet is comprised of individuals from the UNP and the SLFP. This is a new kind of harmony, a new political formula. Our country is not used to this. But if you look at how far the country has fallen from the cliff, we have to keep our personal political beliefs aside and we have to think about the country. We have to think in a new manner so that we can work in this new political culture. Therefore, we need a new framework if we are to implement this.
Minister of Finance Ravi Khandanayake inspected the headquarters of Sri Lanka Customs last night.
The minister inspected the headquarters of Sri Lanka Customs at around 11 last night. Thereafter, the minister spoke with custom officials.
අපිට පේනවා මේකේ යම් බාධක තාම තිබෙනවා. රේගු අධ්‍යක්ෂ ජෙනරල්ට කිව්වේ මේක වහාම.
We can see that there are some shortcomings. I have told the Director General to address these issues and create a more efficient and speedy service for our customers. I believe that the country will be able to save more if clearance can be done within 24 hours. I believe this is the first time that a minister carried out an inspection at night. The customs is now open around the clock. The minister is keeping a close eye on the customs, so this is a strength for us.
Sri Lanka Freedom Party organizer of the Athanagali electorate, Minister Arjuna Ranatunga, laid floral tributes before his father's statue this morning.
Minister Arjuna Ranatunga laid floral tributes before the statue of the late Minister Rechi Ranatunga in Udugampulla this morning.
I'm
glad I was given an electorate like Athanagalla in the Gampaha district, which has produced 2 prime ministers and 1 president. I'm very proud about it. I think if my father was alive, he would have been very happy.
A group of tourists had to undergo several inconveniences due to improper coordination at the Hambantota harbour. They met with difficulties since their planned tour was suspended.
The group of tourists hailing from the Bahamas and Europe arrived in Hambantota this morning. These 800 tourists had planned to visit areas such as Udavalave, Yala and Mulkirigala. Our correspondent stated that special buses had been assigned for the tourists. However, the tourist group had to face difficulties since proper transportation services had not been provided for the tour in the Hambantota town. The other 3-wheeler drivers in Mirijjavilla expressed their protest when others tried to offer the tourists transportation. We asked the first opportunity for the village. Other 3-wheelers have come to our village now. Our people have to live here, and that is what we are saying. This harbour was built in our town, and that means that it was our land that it was built upon. We have 3-wheelers, but the hires go to someone else. Our population is low. We depend upon the foreigners who come here. This opportunity should be given to us the first time. Anyone else can take it the second time.
The ceremony to commemorate the 118th birth anniversary of late General Sir John Kothalavala was held yesterday at the Kothalavala Defence University in Ratmalana.
State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena attended the occasion as the chief guest, which was also graced by the Vice Chancellor of the Defence University, Major General Milinda Piris.
As a former Prime Minister, General Sir John Kothalavala is one of the most brave, honest, capable and benevolent leaders of the modern political history of our country. He had faced many challenges in his early life, and he faced them fearlessly. He had the great quality of benevolence, a quality that is alien to most present-day politicians. He was a leader who always considered what he could do to the country rather than what he can gain from the country. The qualities of the late Prime Minister encompassed traits that show the correct path that a politician should take, ways of facing challenges and achieving objectives.
Our correspondent in Islamabad, Pakistan, sent in this footage a short while ago of President Maithripala Sirisena arriving in the country on a 2-day state visit. The president was accorded a gun salute as he descended the steps onto the runway. He was greeted at the airport by Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. Newsfirst Rinas Mohammed, who is in Islamabad, Pakistan, noted that this was a special significance as it shows the importance the Pakistani government has ascribed to the visit of President Maithripala Sirisena. The President will hold bilateral discussions with the President and Prime Minister of Pakistan and will also be hosted by Pakistani President Mamnoon Hussain to a state banquet. Moving on to sports news now, Lionel Samarajiva from the Central Province won the road race held today, parallel to the Aurudu Fair 2015 Trade Expo and Carnival. HGA Kulatunga, also from the Central Province, won the women's race.
The road race, sponsored by Kevilton Electricals Private Limited, was jointly organised by Sports First, News First and the Kandy District Athletics Association. The 12-kilometre race commenced at the Gatambay Bridge under the auspices of the Chief Minister of the Central Province, Sarath Ekanayaka. The race, held under the supervision of 30 sports officers, ended at the Kandy City Centre via Katugastota. Lionel Samarajiva, the winner in the men's category, completed the race in 38 minutes and 32 seconds. Asela Bandara and Nisanka Kumara, also from the Central Province, were placed in second and third. AMTH Attanayaka won the under-20 boys race, while HGA Kulatunga won the women's race. I am grateful to Sirasa for organising such an event. I am very happy about my victory. The other competitors gave me a good run. The event was held under 3 categories: men's, women's and boys under 20. Talent has been born here and will be born here in the future as well. I see this event today as one which will prove to be a great strength to them. We are grateful to News First and Sports First for bringing such events out of the city and into the village to give our children more opportunities.
DS Sananayaka College Colombo emerged champions in the Inter-School One-Day Cricket Tournament today, defeating Ananda College Colombo in the final by 42 runs. Now batting first at the Pisara Oval in Colombo, the lads from DS Sananayaka amassed 317 runs in their allotted 50 overs. Timila Vidyasekara top scored with 62, while Thorin Pitikala scored 49. Anand's skipper Shammu Ashan scored a brilliant 167-run century, but it was not enough to take his team over the line. They were bowled out in the 44th over, having scored only 275 runs. Haritha Madhuwanta ended with figures of 3 for 48, while Ravindra Silva bagged 2 wickets for DS Sananayaka. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week ahead of you.